Welcome to our educational YouTube channel, Career at 360. Today's video is a continuation of my last data modeling and data automation series, and the link can be seen on the screen. Link of the previous video can be seen on the screen, where I've showed you how to reconcile a big data which previously used to take a half a day or more than half a day in just less than 30 minutes by using a conventional way of a VLOOKUP, SUMIF and SUMIFs. And today, by doing these 8 steps, I will use the same data and reduce the reconciliation time to less than 30 minutes. Okay, and please note that there will be a third series also on this data, where in the third series I will show you that you can reconcile the same data, large data of the budget, in just few seconds. So you have to stay tuned and you have to go through all the 3 sessions so that you can learn different ways. So these are the 7 steps on your screen which we will do. So first of all, as you can see that we have 3 files, which is budget, SAP and PCM, which you can see from here, budget, SAP and PCM. We will create a normal table into it, and then first we will load the SAP sheet into a Power Query. And what we will do in the Power Query, there are around 48 months of a data, 48 columns, and we will convert 48 columns into 4 columns, which is a 4 years, and then we will consolidate 14,000 rows into 40 rows through the first table. And then the next step will that we will take the PCM folder, which is over here, and we will load it into Power Query and merge this PCM with the SAP query in point number 3 and create the third file, which is called a MergeQuery, which you can see over here. In 5th step, we will upload the budget file and merge it with the MergeQuery into Power Pivot, and then we will create formulas through a DEX formulas, and third, we will create a relationship between the budget and the MergeQuery so that we can create a Power Pivot of it. Now the example which I want to share you is basically linked with third data modeling exercise. I will give you a link of that recording in my in below so that you can see there. In that exercise, we have used a conventional VLOOKUP formulas. We have used SUMIF and SUMIFs with some other functions to do the reconciliation. And then what was the reconciliation? More or less the data is the same. The background is that I'm doing some budgeting reconciliation, and finally my boss calls me and they says the directors of these departments has given us these numbers. Now we are, for example, we are doing a 3 years of a budgeting. So this is my current year, which is 2020. That's why I say LE, and this is my budgeting for 21, 22 and 2023. So we have done 3 years of budgeting, and finally he gave me the summary numbers received from the head of the department and say these are the numbers, you have to reconcile this. Now on the other hand, what happens that this is the data which I've downloaded from my SAP system. Now explain you, this is first is the profit center, which is a department. Every department has a cost center. Okay, and how can I explain you? This is my profit center master file. Okay, so as you can see is P100 is the finance department, and finance department has 4 cost centers, which is 1010, 1020, 1030, 1040, and this is the description over here. And same way there are human resource, which is a department, and there's a information technology, there's a supply chain, and again it's one of the largest supply chain which has more than 8 to 10 different cost centers, and this is the description of the cost center. And if you go down, then you can find there's some marketing department which has some cost centers, and there's sales which has different cost centers. So altogether there are 40 cost centers into my company. I was working for a big multinational company, which is a UK based company, is having 100 SKUs with 150 plus countries they are working. So that was the budgeting. So now this is the structure of my company, and when I downloaded the data, now it has the profit center or our department. Every department has a cost center, every cost center has the GL, and now this is a 4 years of data. So 12 months of 2020, then continue with the here 12 months of 21, then another 12 months of 2022, and finally there are 12 months of 2023. So altogether there are 48 columns. If I add from here till here, these are 48 columns data. Okay, 48 columns, and 40 are the cost centers, which is here. But if I go at the bottom, because every cost center has 300 plus GLs, so altogether this is a 14,000 rows, because it's a detailed data downloaded from my SAP system. So now what my boss wants me, all these 250,000 numbers to be reconciled with these are dozens of numbers. Yeah, dozens of number, or more, slightly more than dozen, 20 numbers, let's say. So now my boss wants me to reconcile these numbers, which are around 24 different numbers, 24 numbers to be reconciled here with 250,000 numbers. So in my previous example, I've used VLOOKUP, SUMIF, and some other functions, and I told you at the end that I'll be using some more advanced functions. So today I'll be using a Power Pivot and PowerQuery to solve this thing, and we will be also experiencing a DEX formula, and I will tell you in detail when we think this. So if you're using a 2016 like me, how you can activate a Power Pivot into your system? Very simple. You have to go into the file, you have to go into the options, and over here you can add ins, and over here you can drop down, and there's a COM add. So select COM add and say go, and over here as you can see that I've already ticked on Power Pivot options for Excel. So do nothing, just click this second last over here and press OK, because I've already done, so I don't need to do that. And here you can see the Power Pivot functions or ribbon is available on my top. So now what I want to do, basically I want to reconcile these 48 columns into 14,000 rows data with the budget file. Okay, and now I have three simple sheets on my file. Please keep this thing in mind, because if you remember this data, then it will help you as we move forward into our Power Pivot. So this is my budget, BUD budget, so I've called it that. This is my SAP downloaded data, which has everything, and at the bottom of each cost center you can see there's a total over here. So remember that every cost center after 350 rows there is a total of the cost center, then the next cost center start 350 rows, then the total, and the next cost center start 350 rows and the total, and it goes like 40 times, because there are 40 different cost centers. That's why this file has 14,000 rows. And finally this is my master data. I call it profit center master, because this tells me what are the profit center code number, what is the description of the cost center, profit center, the cost center number, and the cost center description. And let's start the thing. So first of all, what I will do, I will keep my data on SAP sheet, and anywhere over here I can go on to a data ribbon. I can click here from the table. So go into the data ribbon and say from the table. The moment I take it from the table, you can see that this table has been opened into a PowerQuery. How do I know? Because it's written here, this table has been opened into PowerQuery. Okay, so what I'll do first, I will name it SAP, because it's a SAP data QUERY. Please remember these names, because this is a SAP data downloaded with 48 columns into 14,000 rows. Now I want to make it a smart table, so that is, I call it SAP Query over here. And now I can click over, and I don't want to see everything, rather let me just press load more options. Okay, and over here I will unselect all the options, and the null and the blank is coming where after 350 rows where there's a total. I don't need this total, I just need the data of all the cost centers without a total. So because I don't want the total, so wherever it is coming a null here, let me see, because I said just show me on this column, which is a PC number, don't show, yeah, their numbers are appearing, but where there's a null or blank is appearing, because, and those are the columns, or those are the rows which has the data, which has the total. So what I will do, I will say okay. Now as you can see, all the the null or the blanks are coming. And what are these rows? These are basically the totals of the cost center. So I don't need them. So I will select, and there's no GL also here, because over there was no GL, because those were the totals. So I will select these two columns and say right click and remove the columns. Okay. So now what I have only one column, which is my cost center number and the 48 columns, cost center and 48 column. I will select it from January 2020 and I will go till the December. Okay, and then I will go into add columns in the Power Query and say standard and add. Now add means that system will add all the 12 months of 2020, and like a conventional Excel, I don't have to say sum start from the January column and come till the December column, bracket close, enter. I don't have to do anything. Simply I will select these columns and say add, and system will create another column at the end of the 48th column. So now most probably this will be the 49th, or if I add the first column, which is this will be a 50th column. So what I'll do, I will select this thing, right click over here and say rename, and I call it year 2020. Why? Because this is the total of a 2020. I don't want 12 columns. I want to reduce those 12 columns to one column, and tab, and it's done. And again, this is it's not linked with those. This system has done a total, like we have options in the Power Pivot. When the number comes in, it's not a formula, it's some internal calculations done by the Power Pivot, and the numbers are displayed here. Okay, so now what I'll do, I will go for my 2021 here, January 2021, and I will add all 12 columns till December 21. Go over here and say add. Now again, a new column has been added after 2020. I will click here, right click, rename to year 2021 and tab to out. Now I will go for 2022 here. So I will select these 12 months of 22 till here, add, and the third year has been added over here from 2020, 2021, and over here right click, rename year 2022, tab. Now I will select the last 4 columns of 2023, and I can select it from here, January 2023, and all 12 months till here, add, and the last column has been added over there, and right click, rename year 2023, tab. So now what I have done is I have done a summary. So I have converted those 48 columns into 4 columns into a summarized form. So these 4 columns, basically these 4 columns are the totals of the 48 columns. Now because I have the total of 4, what I will do, I will select it from December 23 and go back till the first column, which is January 2020. Okay, so now I have selected 48 columns from January 2020 to December 23. I don't need it. Why I don't need it? Because now I have summarized it into the full year, which is 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 at the end. And now what I want, I will simply do nothing, right click over here and say remove the columns. And now as you can see that there is a cost center number is coming, and the 4 years are coming, and I'm happy with that. Now I want to move this from a Power Query back into my Excel, and what I will do, I will go into a home ribbon and I will say close and load, and over here I will select the second option. The moment I press this thing, it will take me back to my Excel, and the new sheet will be added. Previously we have 3 sheets, now the 4th sheet will be added into my data. Because of now whatever it says, I will say okay, I want a new sheet here, and as you can see this new sheet has been added over here. I will move it to the end, and I call it SAP Query. Why I call it SAP Query? Because this was, which is a 14,000 rows and 48 columns data, has at least what happens. I have done is I have moved from 48. I have converted it into a 4 columns. Okay, so little bit of a formatting, and these are my cost centers. And now if you want to go at the bottom, you can see that it has been converted to 40 columns. Why 40 columns? Because you remember that what we have done to the 14,000 rows, we have deleted everything from the inside, which are the totals were coming, and we have reduced it to 40 columns into 4 columns. Okay, because we don't need, we say add everything and just convert them into the totals over there, and we have removed the unwanted data from there. So now this is a SAP data has been made. Now I will go into a profit center master. Okay, and I have to do nothing, and again I will just put my cursor over here and go into my data and say from the table, and again this profit center things has been opened into a Power Query. As you can see over here, the system load the data, still it's processing, so I'm not doing anything till it get normal. So now what I will go on to the home ribbon, and over here this is MergeQuery. I will select this first option, and I want to merge my PC master with my SAP Query. And what is that SAP Query? We just created a minute ago, and in that SAP Query we have converted 48 columns into 4 columns. So now what I want to select this thing over here. It's showing me SAP Query, yes, over there, and link this because we need to establish a link between the two tables. One is this profit center master, and another was a SAP Query which we have created. And what is the common between them? There is a cost center over here and there is a cost center over here. So I will, when you highlight these two columns, that means system knows that you have to create a relationship between these things, and here I have to do nothing, simply says okay, and now the query has been merged. The four columns of 4 years are now over here, but before that let me just save the file. So this is a merger between the profit center master and SAP. Okay, so I will call it MergeQuery. Okay, because this is a merger of two sheets, and over here I can press this expand button. Whatever it says, yeah, say okay, expand the data. Now expand the data, you can see that these first 4 columns were my profit center master, where there's a profit center number, description, cost center number, and cost center description was coming. And now I have merged this table, which is in white, with the blue or green, whatever you can see on the screen, which we have just created when we converted a 48 columns into a 4 column, which is year 2020, 2021, 22, 23. So now what I want is, this is a duplication of a data here, because this number is over here. As you can see, these numbers are here and it is over here. So I don't want duplicate. I can remove one. So I will click here, right click, and here I will say remove the data. Okay, so now what we have done, we have merged the query and we have done everything. Okay, now I want to take this thing back into my Excel, because now I have created the second query after SAP. So again I will go into home, close and load, and use the second option and say okay. It will take a few seconds, and here the 5th sheet has been created into this file. I will move it into the end, and for me this is merge. This is MergeQuery. What is the merge? Basically the profit center master and the SAP query, where we have converted 48 columns to 4 columns. This MergeQuery is a merger of SAP query and profit center master. Okay, and again at any time if I want to do some formatting for For accounting purpose, I can always do that thing so that commas and everything will be displayed normally. And now this thing is done. Now what I will do? Now I want to link my merged file, which is over here, which contains all my cost center and profit center, to the budget file. Why budget file? Because budget file has the summary, which is a profit center, and my merge data also have the profit center with the details and the numbers. So now I want to bring and summarize this 40 or 40 plus rows to over here with these 6 rows. Okay, so what is my target? I want to use this field, which is a profit center. I want to merge with the budget thing so that these numbers get converted from 48 columns to 6 columns. So what I'll do, I will go over here, put my cursor into the table, and over here I will go into my Power Pivot, and over here I will say add data model. So now again it has been converted into a Power Pivot, as you can see here, and that budget moved onto here, and here you can see a tab which says it is a budget. I'm happy with this, and I will minimize this thing. Now I will go into my MergeQuery, put cursor anywhere, and I want to bring it also into my Power Pivot. So I will go into my Power Pivot and again say add data model, and it has been added. Now I have 2 tables in my Power Pivot. This is, let's say, Power Pivot, 2 tables. One is my MergeQuery, and the second one is my budgeted numbers, where it is a summarized one. Now I want to reconcile these numbers with these numbers. Okay, and before that I can move. This is something, a working area is gone, and now we'll be introducing a concept of a DEX formula. What is DEX formula? Function is basically, it is designed to work with the rational data and perform dynamics aggregations. Okay, and DEX formulas are very similar to the Excel formulas. How we can do that? Let me put my cursor here below 2020, and again let me just remember, because we are dealing with the large data. Now what we want is, I want to reconcile the data. What to reconcile? I want to reconcile this MergeQuery data, which has 4 columns and 40 rows, with this 6 rows summary year by year. So first of all, what I will do, I will create a DEX formula. And what is that? First of all, let me create the functions through the DEX formulas. Okay, so over here I will write below 2020. I will go over here and I will say BUD budget 20. This is my DEX function. Colon is equals to sum bracket start. Now all those things which I've created previously, you can see these things has been created over here, and I can use them for my working. So first of all, you remember we have created the budget LE file. So that is the field available in Excel. In my budget field, the first column was a budget LE. So I want to bring that whole total for 2020. Double click over here and enter, and the number comes over here. Let me just do the formatting, reduce this thing and increase the size of my column so that you can see the numbers. Now I can put my cursor over here and want to summarize my 2021 for the budget number. These numbers, I want to summarize these numbers over here as a total. Okay, nothing new. So these are the 6 numbers which are added over here. Now I want to add these 6 numbers from my budget file over here. So what I will do, I will say this is my budget numbers, BUD 21 colon is equals to sum bracket start, and I want to add 2021, enter, expand the column, do the formatting, move on to the third one. And now this is what we are doing is DEX function or DEX formulas. So now I will say BUD 22 colon is equals to sum bracket start. I want to pick the third here, enter, expand the data, go into the format, no decimals, come on to the fourth here, and then say BUD 23 colon is equals to sum, bracket start, pick 23, enter, expand the column, format. So now basically what we have done is we have bring the total of these 4 years over here into one line. Okay, because I want to reconcile my bottom line, so I bring the total over here. Now reconcile with what? Reconcile with my SAP query data. So what I will do, again I can write here my SAP data 20 colon is equals to sum, bracket start, and here if you remember in our merge query, when we have done the merger of SAP first time, we have created year 2020, 2021 and 22, 23 at the end of the 48 columns, and then we deleted the 48 columns, if you remember. So I will use that field which we have created in SAP query to come over here, because that was my source data. Now budget data versus our source data. Right now I've created a DEX formula for the budget, and now I want to create a DEX formulas for my SAP data, which was huge downloaded data. Okay, so I will double click here and enter. I can go on to the formatting and can reduce the numbers, and as you can see that now system is showing those 48 columns into 14,000 rows has now been summarized in such a way that the 2020 numbers is reconciled with the budget summary sheet. But let's continue it, and I will say SAP 21 colon is equals to sum, bracket start, go at the bottom, and these are all the functions made by us previously. So I will select 2021 and enter. $2022 is done. Same I will do with this SAP 22 colon is equals to sum, bracket start, go over here, pick my year 2022 which I've created, enter, formatting, last year SAP 23 colon is equals to sum, bracket start, go at the bottom and select 2023, enter, little bit of formatting, and now you can see all columns are reconciled with each other. But let's do one more thing, and I will call it recon, means a short of a reconciliation over here. 20 colon is equals to this thing minus this thing, enter. So recon for 2020, zero difference. Recon 21 colon is equals to this thing minus with this thing. And why I'm doing, because I want to create a control file so that any number changes anywhere, I can see where the number is different. Let me complete this thing and I'll show you. So zero difference between 2022. Then again I can go here, recon 22 colon is equals to sum, this thing, wait a minute, no sum, sorry, is equals to this thing minus this thing, enter. Zero difference between 2022 over here, recon colon is equals to this thing minus budget for 23 minus with SAP number 23, enter, and it's all done. Okay, so now what we have done is we have created a reconciliation over here, but that's not the end. The last thing before I go to the pivot table, the most important thing over here, now if you press this diagram view over here, we can see our both queries, which is the budget one we have just created and the merge query are here. Now we have to link this thing. So how I will do that? I know there's a profit center common over here and there's a profit center common here. So I will do nothing. I will simply put my cursor over here and drag it to the profit center, and now my both datas are linked together and I can use both of them into Power Pivots so that both can be displayed into Power Pivots, and I can use both of my tables into Power Pivot. And now how do I know that they are linked on that same common field? If I put my cursor here and say right click, it says edit relationship, and now when I go, I can see that my merge query where the profit center is being linked with the budget file with the profit center. So these are the common things between both the tables and both are linked. And now I will take you to another most exciting part of this solution, which will tell us that what benefit we got from the DEX formulas. Let's summarize it before we move on to the next phase. That over here we have made the DEX formulas through the help of the budget file, which was our main summary file. Then we went into the second line, and that 48 columns and 14,000 rows which we have converted, we have picked the totals from there over here. And the third line we have made the reconciliation by making by saying budget minus SAP, and over here we can see that it is all reconciled. But let me show you the most powerful functions available through this. So I will go, still I'm into a Power Pivot, so I can go over here and say create me a pivot table, and the system will create another new file. Right now we have original number 3, 4th and 5th we have created, and now this will be our 6th file, 16th, sorry. And as you can see here that with Power Pivot I can manage more than one tables. Budget was my first table, MergeQuery, we know that we have created this one, and SAPQuery we have created, and there were some other tables. So these are the 3 tables all in one. If I want, I can link the data from different tables and can create one pivot table through that option. So I will go into my budget, but right now I will not doing it. In the following DEX example, I will be showing you how to link 2 to 3 different databases to create a pivot table. So first of all, I need my profit center because I need the names over here, and we all know this is the names, and a DEX formula has created the functions over here. We know we have created budget 20, 21, 22, 23, so they all have been created over here. So just to show you, I want to see my original numbers, and then I want to see is there any difference over here. So let's say I want to select this one, this one, and this one, and this one. So those were my summary numbers which I've created from my budget file, and over here I don't want SAP because it is more or less the same numbers. I don't want to repeat this, and at the end you can see are my 4 reconciliations. So I say I want a reconciliation for 20, 21, 22 and 23 over here, and these are just a minor rounding difference. If I go into my home ribbon and I will say just reduce them to, or go over here and say numbers and without decimal, now you can see that these are my, let me just make it big for your view over here. So now if you want, you can see that my original budget number, which has been forwarded to me as a summary by my seniors, my boss, whoever it is, are these numbers, and this is the reconciliation which showing that these budget numbers are all reconciled with the downloaded SAP data. Now if I want to check, what I will do, I will go into my budget summary, and over here just to see what I will do, I will say is equals to, and let me add or subtract 10,000 whatever it is. So add $10,000. I have added into my summary or even I can add something into my original SAP data, which has 48 columns and 14,000 rows. So it's my choice. And now I can go into my Power Pivot sheet, and over here, if I put my cursor over here and go into analysis and say refresh, and simply say refresh, you can see that this 10,000 difference appears over here. Why? Because this is just we have added into our budget. And if I don't want, this is just for an example, I can remove this thing, go back and go into analysis, refresh and refresh, and this has been done. So now from the control point of view, what I want to explain to you now, the moment you download your SAP data after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, download it to that same sheet, the formulas are over there, everything will be executed automatically, tables and links will be updated, and if there is any difference into any department, even a single penny difference will appear over here in these things. And if you want to investigate, it will be easy for you to go and investigate into that year or into that cost center, profit center, whatever it is. Okay, so what we have done 3 things over here. First of all, we learn how to create a table into a Power Query. Then we have learned how to create formulas or functions through featured DEX formulas. And thirdly, we have created a Power Pivot table where we have not used 2 tables, we have used 1 table, but we can use the 2 tables if required. And again, I've told you that in my next session I will show you how to do that. And this is how we have done a controls. What again, at the end I will recommend you that this is the second session on the same reconciliation. And as I've told you that my previous session was through a conventional way where I've used a VLOOKUP, sum if or sum ifs with some other minor and major functions. So that's another concept of reconciling the data, and this is the another advanced function of reconciling the data. But what I recommend is you that go to both of these concepts so that you can learn and your concepts will be clear, and whenever you have the chance in your company, you can perform these things, and this will help you to be some sort of a great achievement for you, that your bosses will be happy and things like this. So I hope that today you have learned so many new things, or you have learned so many good techniques through this session. I would request you to give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and if you want, I request you to please share this video with your friends and families so that other people can also take benefit of these high in demand professional skills in the market. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.